Hello, beautiful people. I am Oliver Perrin for Semiagog, and welcome to the channel. Today, I will be eating crow. I will skip, in fact, all of the necessary preliminaries of shilling and the rest so that we can jump right into it. Thank you, one and all. Abuse is allowed to flow freely this afternoon. If we have any mods, don't throw people out for being abusive of me or Tim. I throw them out only if they're
you can't be abusive of Tim.
Well, yeah, we'll see. They may well try. However, mods do please throw people out if they're saying things that are going to compromise the channel or cause problems or Fed posting and all of that. But otherwise, everyone is allowed free reign to be as abusive as they like this afternoon. So, yeah, it appears it seems quite conclusive that I was wrong about Trump and that all the people who were taking the opposite position were right. And so there that is. I am formally and officially eating crow. Before we
Tim must defend his views. That's from David at 1:32 p.m.
Tim must do what? I didn't even
defend his views.
Well, I mean, we'll get around to that when we cover the topic of what the hell happened, which is something that is of interest to me. I think that that Charlemagne's question, yes, onanism is probably an issue. Let's see here. Get the crow. Yes, absolutely. Seriously is here to call. Yes, Jonathan Pohl is here. Yes, you heard someone was wrong. I've announced it officially. My crow iconography is up on the Twitter channel, and I am responding to everyone with you were right, I was wrong. So, Tim, is there anything that you want to cover before we go to the subject of what the hell happened and what we got wrong?
Yes, send folding money.
God, your sense of timing is the best.
Send folding money, lots of folding money.
Right, because clearly we're gonna have some. Yeah, we're gonna need to fund our way through this period of God knows what the hell is coming next. I don't even begin to know. But other than
a whole bunch of silliness.
Yeah.
I like that little girl. They've decided that, well, maybe it's a boy. I don't know. They've decided to put on to what's his name's cabinet. Oh, it's lovely.
Yeah, it is. It is. Let's leave that to one side.
We'll leave that to one side.
What? So
all the other dead bodies. Mm-hmm.
Is there
in Minecraft? You understand?
Absolutely. There is. I guess if you have nothing you want to jump in with, I'll just go to it. Do you have? Were there any preliminary marks you wanted to make other than send folding money?
Sure. Trump has, no matter why, has issued a statement of his cowardice. And that's fine by me. That was the one thing I did not count on, that the man would carry it all the way up to the line and then turn yellow. But that's the size of it. I had nothing to do with his turning tail and running yarp, 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 down to Florida. I mean, fine. If the dude wants to be a coward, let him be one. But he should not have picked up the mantle of the hero only to toss it aside, having shat all over it. Sorry.
Yeah, well, there is that.
I am not responsible for Cincinnatus being less than Cincinnatus.
And what do you say, for example, to the well, shit here. Where did it just go?
I don't know.
Here's a characteristic one.
Okay.
He was always going to do that. I think that
Right.
for my part, I see it as that's hindsight. Hindsight is 2020. You know.
Sure.
Yeah. Now I will say, I believe that this should be a free and open forum for people to heap abuse upon us, as promised.
All right.
I've offered this. However, this business of Q has really got to stop. I did not follow Q. I'm not a Q supporter. There was never any. We never once said trust the plan. We have never talked about a satanic ring of pedophiles or any of these other things.
The regular daisy chain of Luciferians.
The record of the content stands as it is. So, you know, go look through it and find something where we endorsed Q. In fact, quite the opposite.
Well,
we never did.
Just take a flying fucking rolling donut while you're at it.
Well, there it is. Now, here's 8888 saying, Ollie, you were spouting about arrest. Absolutely. We thought all kinds of people were going to be arrested. And I was wrong.
They may be yet. Who knows? Well,
yeah, I'm not, as I mentioned in a previous clip, one of the last two, I'm not a big believer in the torpedo in the water hypothesis. You know, the idea that he drops it and disappears and then it detonates after he leaves. I will say that I guess I'll keep an open mind that there's always the possibility that something unforeseen can come along, because I did not foresee Trump cucking in this fashion or whatever it was that he did. But I'm not a big believer that something is going to be, that there's going to be some final move or delivery. What are your thoughts on that, Tim?
Do I care? I don't believe I give a fuck, Ollie.
Yes, but the question remains. I mean, you haven't given a fuck about anything, and you've offered all sorts of opinions. So what do you think?
I think if anything, we'll get somebody from the Republicans who wants to create a vast mess, and they'll probably want to impeach any number of senators and congressmen. First article of impeachment would be the attempt to impeach a non-sitting president, because that would amount to a bill of attainder, which is directly prohibited by the Constitution, which would kind of fuck old Chuck Schumer up. I don't think Mr. Schumer has had proper legal advice on this yet.
Well, I mean, the problem that I have with that, I'll come right back to that. Let me just address this remark that just appeared with the Operation Trust. Look it up. That Operation Trust crap has been making the rounds on Twitter for days. And that operation specifically was to bring in foreign people involved on the white side with the Russian Revolution, the leaders who were still abroad, and convince them that they had support back home in order to identify them and the rest. The parallel is not clear. The only thing that corresponds is the term trust. So that's just sort of,
well, don't even worry about it. So there's going to be so many people jumping out and hopping on that, they just can't, how should I say this? They can't keep their shit straight.
Well, yeah, but I mean, in this situation, I thought I had my shit straight. So let's come back to
you did if the guy had any balls about him.
Right, but at the same time, you got to remember that one of the judgments I made was that he did have the balls, and therefore I was incorrect about it.
A lot of people made that incorrect judgment.
Right, but I have to take personal responsibility for my own predictions. It didn't work out. So
take personal responsibility, collective responsibility, whatever kind of responsibility you want. The point is that the guy nuts blocked.
Ooh. It does seem that way, because I simply cannot understand, as I've mentioned in the past on previous streams, how so many things went into the back room of shit he could use and then never came out again. I mean, it's like a hermetically sealed crypt wherein like an entire arsenal with which he could have like smacked any number of people over the head simply disappeared. But let me let me jump back to this bill of attainder business, because what you're saying there is that they could screw up, quote unquote, by going too far. And I draw up on that in the sense that they've just gone too far with absolutely everything. And the consequences, I mean, I suppose I could, hold out some hope, but at this point, I'm not really feeling it. They simply, how could you reference the way in which that they'd be bitten in the ass, hypothetically, by going too far and doing things that are unconstitutional?
This is a direct prohibition in the Constitution against bills of attainder.
Well, I mean, the Constitution also would suggest that elections should be certified by states' legislatures. They have
to be certified. That requires another course of action, depending upon the Senate and the House, most especially the Senate, which they promptly took care of and got all of the, well, not all, but most of the objections out of the way.
Right, by terrifying.
So even though it was illegal,
it was pro forma.
It was pro forma. The bill of attainder, it's a direct prohibition against it. When they try to impeach Mr. Trump, who has resigned, he's turned it over. Ooh, here you go, Biden. Anything the Senate does to him at this point in the way of a trial of impeachment, anything, they lack jurisdiction.
Yeah, we just saw, I get the distinction between the pro forma and the egregious, but I feel like we crossed the bridge relative to that, over this past 4-year period. I mean, there's perhaps that I've drank too much ink in the last, since I woke up or whatever. But the one thing that seems to be manifestly clear is that they do not give a shit about any of these restrictions, any of this.
That's structure. How you can tell the Chinese communists are in the midst of it. Now look, let's back up just a minute. Trump to the side. The Chinese communists have done this whole program. Now, I didn't, ring the bells real big about anything like that. But it's true. The Chinese communists have basically bought our governments. Our government. I say governments because state as well as federal.
Them and others, yes.
Well, yeah, I'm only concerned with ours,
No, I just mean it's not only the Chinese, but certainly I agree that they're the primary financial driving force behind the less obvious forms of subversion. But yeah, go on. Pardon me.
So at any rate, the Chinese communists have bought the show. Okay. Trump turned it over to them and said, go for it. Got no opposition from him. Now, this is one way to fight them. Let them get up there and make as big an ass out of themselves and split the Democratic Party into as many facets as they want, which is typical of communist takeovers. Fine.
You would really characterize this as being one way to fight them rather than simply running away?
Yeah.
I mean,
I just think the boy's nuts locked on him, that's all.
But then how, if indeed his nuts did lock on him and he just went for the hills, and there's doubtless plenty of shit behind
the hills. He went for
for Mar-a-Lago.
He went for the cover that Mar-a-Lago provides to him and that 75 million people provide to him, because a goodly portion of those people live in the middle of flyover America. And with Biden having to see, Trump laid a number of nasty little things in there as far as the Chinese are concerned and their takeover. Okay, fine. You know, whoopee-doo. I give a shit. He has basically laid any number of problems and programs before the, golly gee, entirely Democratic controlled, which means that they're not going to have anybody to resist except themselves. That's fine. I don't care.
I follow that for sure. I want to clarify something.
Stop and look at what's going to happen with them.
What, the fact that they're going to have their infighting, which has already begun?
Not just infighting. They're going to infight, outfight, round fight, every kind of fight you can imagine.
Maybe.
Because they're all scrambling. They're all scrambling for power. Oh, yeah. Come on, man. You read about the French Revolution, the Russian Revolution.
Absolutely. You got your Bolsheviks, right. Mensheviks. You get, yes, they'll all go after each other, and that I don't doubt will be borne out. I don't. I think you're that. But to what extent does it matter?
Well, it doesn't matter at all to me. You know.
Yes, but I mean, in terms of the framework specifically we're looking at, which is, you know, what does the immediate future hold as well as medium and long term, and basically you're saying that the people in the legislature are going to fight with each other, and we just saw how they're bought and paid for. So who? I mean, I don't doubt that there is that what you're laying out there. We will see some of that. We will certainly see that they'll go at each other's throats, and
we'll see a lot of it because they don't have anybody to fight but themselves.
Yeah, but by extension, because there's really only the party, which is why I've now taken to saying "Welcome to the party," my favorite recent double entendre. We've seen that, you know, the Republicans weren't really in opposition either, and so they've never really had anyone to fight amongst or amidst other than themselves.
Oh, yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. They had all kinds of things to fight, but they were basically brought up by, guess who? The people. $75 million of them.
Ish, sure. But we just saw that how they vote doesn't matter. Like manifestly.
We just saw how manifestly the vote doesn't matter to the vote counters. The vote counts very much, matters very much to the people. So you got to remember, Ollie, there's a vast majority of human beings in this nation who go, wait a minute, that's not right. Even when their side won. Did you take a look at Biden's inauguration today?
I didn't. I actually woke up after it.
Oh, you should have seen it. It was marvelous. There were people nowhere. And there were lots of flags.
Yes.
All we needed was Mao or somebody marching through.
Let me address one thing that came in.
Hey, boys, want to buy a bridge? Sure.
No, that's just the end. He has been in the background, and today is a day of triumph for him, so he deserved his time. But we're getting this China thing, and some other people have come in and said, you know, for example, now Tim is following Alex Jones and saying Chi-Coms. We've been talking.
Alex Jones never has followed Alex Jones.
As I was about to say, you can simply go look at the channel. And we've talked about Chinese communists since within the first year of the channel starting, probably within the first 6 months. So that's manifestly not true. I'll take my lumps for the things that I am obviously wrong about or have been wrong about. But like as regards the rest of it, get it right. And other people are are coming in with this business of, it's not the Chinese, that's just foolishness, it's the them. And I've made my position clear on that too. I see that group as a kind of Praetorian guard within globalist circles who are a certain number of them who are true believers and do serve as the sort of vanguard for introducing a lot of this crap. I acknowledge it, but that does not in any respect remove the reality of China. And anybody who ask some of the people from South Africa. I see that we have some in here, and ask them what role China is playing and what's happening in their own country. I mean, there are people who pay attention to this, and they recognize that China is a part of this too. So let's just leave that be.
They recognize that China is a part of this too. Mm-hmm. I like that.
Well, thank you. Well, let's come back around to this idea on as BDB points out, there are a lot of people who have been looking at the information that's coming out. We'll see. Most of that's going to be buried. The stuff like, for example, we just had a recent declassification of the business with Crossfire Hurricane and the FISA abuse and the rest. And I have to ask myself, I haven't even looked at it yet, to be honest. What does it matter? I mean, the people who followed this closely in terms of the shit that was done to Trump early on, we have seen that, maybe we're going to have more clarity, more details about what happened. But the fact remains that we knew this. Everybody who bothered to look knew it. And so I'm not even sure how any of this will matter, the so-called revelations, because they're out. Okay. I'm gonna control myself. There are people I wish to remove because they're just talking shit.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
So, how is it that you let's back up. What do you think is coming? What's next?
What do I think is coming? Well, I would say that we're going to see a whole bunch of legislation be written, prepared, and all that nonsense, and get chewed apart in the House and the Senate and sent up to be signed by President Biden, dealing with Second Amendment, First Amendment, and a whole lot of stuff to deal with whether or not we've got enough melanin minded people to what does the lady call it? Oh, to give us spiritual strength. You know the one I'm talking about. She's in charge of the I think it's the Department of Justice at this point. The one who wrote papers in Harvard and whatnot about how you had to have enough melanin, and that white people's melanin organ, whatever that is, was atrophied and clogged up and all that. And she still believes it. I'm just, I'm sitting in absolute amazement that everybody's talking about how most of the Trump supporters were white, so they need to be deprogrammed.
Yes, I think everyone who's watching has probably seen plenty of that. That's going around on all sides, and it promises to gather some steam.
Well, yes, it does. And that's good. I want to see it all passed into law.
I believe I catch a whiff of accelerationism on the air.
Well, yes, you can. I see no reason not to want it accelerated. That will bring about...
In Minecraft. Metaphorically speaking, yes.
Yeah, metaphorically speaking. It's an existential threat to our existence. Hell, man. I think we ought to put somebody from the NBA in charge of the whole program. Just have Biden step down and let somebody in the NBA step up.
I mean, for all we know, I mean, that it could be that one of our much taller and sports ball accomplished brethren is in charge. I mean, at this point, I don't know. I've never seen such a thing in my life. I've never seen such a thing as this. This is just insanity. I mean, we had it with John F. Kennedy, where, so I'm told, I wasn't there, but the impression that a lot of the country. And is it true that a lot of the country were like, oh, wow, they can just take out a president they don't like?
Uh-huh.
Well, now we've got that, except it's been, it's building on what came before. It's not like, going back. It's even worse. Mm-hmm. So, what is your perception on where it goes? I mean, you think that somehow this is gonna it's not a bug, it's a feature?
I think it's designed as a feature. I do not like what that says about Mr. Trump, but I think it's a feature. And to be honest with you, I've just about lost all my faith in anything that is not done quickly. If it's to be done, let it be done quickly.
Well, amen to that. We just saw, yes. Well, let's maybe dig into this idea. What the hell do you think happened to him? One of the things I thought about it, and I mentioned it, I think, in a previous stream, or in a discussion with somebody else that I was talking to, that billionaires can make arrangements amongst themselves, and certainly do daily. And they don't necessarily have to follow the same kind of rules that you or I do, except in the most, bald and reduced
from you and I.
Yes, only the poor conspire, the rich simply make plans. One of the most excellent Tim Rudisil quotes. It should go down in history. But it's possible, for example, that he has some dirt and decided to hang on to it to have a dead man switch for himself. It's possible that they said, look, if you keep pushing this, we'll kill you. I mean, what do you think happened here?
Let me see. I don't give a fuck.
Okay. Do you have any sense of even not giving a fuck? What is likely to have occurred?
No. See, the thing is, when I don't give a fuck, really just don't give a fuck, I cease to admire the board.
Right.
Because the board is about to become too convoluted, too mixed up with little pebbles everywhere.
Right, because it's dissolved into something that cannot, as you just mentioned, be decisively sorted.
Exactly so.
Right.
It is a game of amateurs.
Well, I mean,
when you get down to it, Oliver, there are very few people who can maintain a really good idea for any length of time. They get to thinking about how they can make it better, how the opponent could make it worse. They have ceased to be masters of the art of war, or to even study the art of war.
So it's what's the line?
They have become masters of the art of battle. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And with disregard, their currents turn awry and lose the name of action.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're in a situation where we've got any number of foreign lobbies, some more significant than others. We've got China. We've got there's no.
We even got the lobby of Peru out there.
We have no. There is no pleasant resolution. The
pleasant or present?
Pleasant. Nor do I think is there any immediate or present solution. I mean, the problems with Europe being overrun with foreign populations, the problems with the United States, likewise, being overrun.
Overall, Oliver.
I just did. I mean,
I'm saying, look at it, see it. The populations of Europe are being overrun. With what? Why? Where? What's the demographics of the population overrunning them? What's the demographics of the population overrunning us or about to overrun us?
African, Middle Eastern, West Asian, sure. Indian to some extent, you know.
I think that in all likelihood, that very shortly, you're going to see a number of groups. What, Oliver?
Nothing going, pardon
me. That have nothing to do with politics, but everything to do with defending yourself.
Well, we had a remark here a little bit earlier in the chat from Conscious Caracol about looking at the lesson provided by South Africa.
Sure.
And that seems to be precisely where they have gone in terms of civic organizations.
Yeah, well, that's cute, you know. I don't give a fuck about them. They have basically, how should I say this? Kissed off, bought into, whatever you want to call it, their own demise.
Well, I mean, in what respect does that differ from anyone in Europe or Australia or New Zealand or the United States?
None.
Oh, well, then, yes. So you have now switched to a black pill filled Pez dispenser?
No. I just maintain my same old position. I don't give a fuck.
Right, but I mean, but everybody knows that. I mean, to be fair, no disrespect intended, but could we discuss something else other than the fact that you don't give a fuck? I mean,
sure. What do you want to talk?
What the future holds.
There was a little dog across the street. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, what do we have for? What do you think we should consider, given what has occurred? What subject would you like?
I think we should consider. Well, now that offers a very different tone and standard from the questions that are usually posed to me. Usually it's what do you think is going to happen? This is what do I think should happen? How interesting.
As long as it's broached tactfully, yes. I'd love to hear it.
Well, I think in all likelihood that we will see a number of very smooth patriots come together and put forward their plan. I do not think they'll have success, but I think they'll cause a hell of a disturbance. Now, do I think they should? No, I do not. I think they ought to wait and let Biden bring this whole house of cards tumbling down around his ears. Completely down around his ears. And that's fine. they've spent all the money we could ever have. We're probably going to, how shall I say this? Probably have to come up with a new currency. And we're probably going to come very, very close to war with China.
I mean, from every perspective I'm aware of, we are and have been under the new rules of war for years now. You just mean hot kinetic
war.
Before we jump into that very quickly, saying sounds like Tim has no children. No, Tim does have children. So there's that.
What does that have to do with anything?
That is a right-wing theme of not caring about circumstances or the future based on you not having cards in the game. Everybody likes to say that.
Well, I've got skin in the game. That doesn't matter either.
Right. It's just that's a theme. You get called a boomer, and the idea with boomers is that they don't care about the future, and they have bequeathed this evil set of circumstances to us based on their nihilism and their lack of any investment in the future through children. I'm just explaining it to you, and I'm just pointing.
I agree, and I'm grateful for your explanation.
I'm just pointing out that no, Tim does have kids. So, well,
grandchildren do.
Oh yeah, I guess you do. Yeah,
I do. Yes.
Yes.
And she lives in Portland.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Now there it is.
Well, that's it.
I have a friend in Portland, and the dispatches from that front are yeah. Whew, boy, I'll tell you what. Okay,
it's well, like that for a while, man. You got to give them a chance to stretch a little bit.
I don't know, man. I went and found that Chesty Puller quote because that was one of the few places where I could like draw some much needed copium into my bloodstream. You know, they're on the left, they're on the right, they're in front of us, they're behind us. And he says, yeah, now we got them right where they want. They can't get away now. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sure.
The bottom line is that we're surrounded by shitbirds, and they're completely empowered. And we well know that even the sort of centrist rhino doesn't have the vindictive spite that motivates them in the way that the forces of progress, are motivated. And so they're coming around. I mean, I've seen the shit going around on Twitter, basically saying, we're taking volunteers. They're trying to create their own digital army now, as though they didn't have one out of China and elsewhere, in order to identify all those who supported Trump and push them into a corner. I mean, what are we to expect of that?
Much corner pushing.
Yes, and that is correct. I have no children. So, I mean, what does that bode for all the rest of us? What the fuck? Is it just, put your head down in the fucking foxhole? And I mean, what?
If you're in a foxhole, you're fucked up. I learned that easy in my little time.
Yeah, well, that's the defending the fixed position, lose all flexibility, lose all initiative. And what'd you say about defenders as well? They just have to sit around and wait for the attacker to do something all the time.
Whereas the attacker can go out and stir some shit up.
Now, we're talking about metaphorically, and I am actually talking about metaphorically.
Okay.
But I dig the idea of taking lawful and civil action in order to make our voices heard.
Okay.
I just don't know that.
It's going to stay lawful and civil and all that as long as states behave themselves. Because Mr. Biden is going to find out the feds really don't have that much going for them. Unless he signs a number of executive orders making the feds the crux of the matter.
What do you mean don't have things going for them? That their hands are tied in some respect in terms of dealing with affairs within individual states?
Yes.
Except we've seen the states are crooked, and then we've seen a long history going back to when Bush the Younger, the shrub, was in office. They don't mind black bagging anybody's head.
Well, that's because they have been after, how shall I say this, small numbers of them. Even all this stuff they're doing with the people who were, oh my God, right there in the Capitol. Couple of hundred. We're talking millions, Ollie.
Yeah, I get it. They're for the most part, I mean, the whole reason that I identify with them to some extent more so is that they do obey the law. They do believe in the idea of a constitutional republic, etc. And they're not fly off the handle kind of people. I mean, you got your fringy ones, but I mean, I'm seeing shit now going around about a Patriot Party that will be forming because the Republicans are doomed, and I get that, but boy, I don't see them coalescing around Trump. Now, I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon and talk about Trump was everything evil under the sun.
He was just a man,
and I think he did a number of things that are have proven to be very useful. The thing is that he did not hold the line and go the full distance.
That's right.
I think that there are a whole lot of pissed off people about that.
Yeah, I think maybe you're right.
And one of the aspects, it's like AA was saying, and I agree wholeheartedly. I said it in my own way on a number of occasions. Fuck this business about 2024. Who gives a shit about 2024? The thing is that I mean, the bottom line is that people are being pumped into the country at an alarming rate. It's slowed under Trump, but did not stop. It's going to increase. We know that no matter where you choose to go, they'll bust them fucking in, like Somalis going to Twin Falls, Idaho.
That's good, man. I want them to go to Twin Falls. People in Twin Falls need to find out it tastes like cod.
Well, there is that cod remark again, but yeah, let's do be careful with the business of YouTube.
Okay. Metaphorically, Minecraft speaking.
Right. We're in a situation where shit doesn't look good. Now, I'm not going to swallow the black pill, but I did, my thing was I was off wandering the world like a proper Gen Xer trying to discover myself abroad. And or at least to discover broads.
I always tried to discover broad anywhere I could,
Abroad, yes.
Yeah.
A dame with gams.
There ain't nothing like a dame. There ain't anything you can name that is anything like a dame.
I ain't seen better legs than a bucket of chicken. And nevertheless, I came back and I saw this thing going on, and I said, I will throw in on this because it looks like something could happen here.
Send folding money.
God, man. That's another thing. I had somebody giving me shit about how, I take money from people. And I'm like, dude, if you want to see what kind of income is associated with this, not to say I'm not appreciative of all the people who do support the channel. And I'll tell you what, it's a hell of a lot better than nothing. But anybody who thinks I'm a grown ass man, I've made real money at various
points.
You
aren't getting rich.
That's one way to phrase it.
Okay.
But I had stayed out of all of this shit for quite some time.
Yeah.
And decided to throw in now. But I have to say, I'm so repulsed and disgusted. I'm not going to say that I'm going to shut up. And there are certain things like constant attacks on white people that cannot be tolerated and have to be spoken out against. But what the fuck? Where is there any hope?
Sure there is. Sure there is. There's going to be hope for a lot of people. Most of them white. But boy, we're going to have bloody hands before it's over with, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah, it's just we've discussed this privately, but it's a point I brought up in the past, and I think it bears bringing up again here if you'll tolerate it. Thank you for your tolerance in general. We're not just talking about the people of the United States against their own government, so to speak. We're talking about the people of the United States against their own government and a near peer, China, as well as
yellow peril,
as well as let's just say global communists of all varieties.
Yeah, mostly black.
I'm not quite going there, but let's say
no, I don't care. This is, after all, free speech.
Right. Okay. I'll take the bait. Mostly black global communists are responsible for our circumstances.
And brown.
All those people went to, what's that damn Patrice Lumumba, or what's that fucking university in?
Patrice Lumumba. No, they didn't have to.
I've seen a number of Indians heavily involved in it. Indian commies are beginning to show their faces more, but I don't get how you're saying with a straight face that black communists are in large part responsible for the circumstances in which we find ourselves. I get it for South Africa, but even they're put in place by others.
Partner, they're all put in place by others. They're all being whooped up to it by the Chinese. You and I have talked about this before. There is no counter you go to and go, hi, I'm a communist sympathizer and I want my AK-47, my ammunition, my web gear, and my boots.
My copy of a little red book, yes.
Yeah. There is no place you go to get that. Somebody has to bring it to you. Now, come on, bub.
Well, I mean, the bottom line is that, as I've tracked, and you're aware of it yourself, these problems with communism, they start in the West. They start in seed form with things like More's Utopia. They move up through a whole bunch of Christians who
wind up eventually handing it off to some strong man who claims to be communist, claims to be socialist, who claims to be all kinds of things, when what he really is a guy like Idi Amin Dada or Muammar Gaddafi. Any of these motherfuckers.
Or a whole Fabian society full of people.
Sure.
Or
when you don't have anything, 2 potatoes sounds like a lot. Ask Nikita Khrushchev.
Yeah, but I'm not quite sure what that has to do with my point. I had taken a side thing from the point that I was originally making to address you saying that in large part it's black communists who are responsible for our circumstances.
That's because they're the ones who don't have anything at this point. The black and the brown communists don't have anything. So if whites didn't have anything, it'd be white communist.
But isn't that confusing the proximate cause for the real cause? Because what we're talking about is simply the proletariat cannon fodder who are pushed ahead and manipulated
by the communist Chinese at this point.
Largely communist Chinese at this point. But the reason that I stopped to describe what's going on in terms of a historical trajectory is because communism starts amidst the ferment of the Protestant Reformation and the strange ideas after
if you want to go back and analyze this thing out, as is your custom and is your desire in all things, to analyze it granularly, well, you go right ahead.
Well,
when you have published your book, and by the actions of the lumpen proletariat who did not agree with this, and they're sitting back, resting their feet on a mound of skulls of their enemies, their grandchildren can read it right after they finish art, pottery, ceramics, weaving, all the things that a third generation of the victors takes up, as was noted by a gentleman in the American Revolution who said, I study war so that my son may study politics, so that his son may study art. Oops.
Yeah, I get that. The point, however, is, and this is why I'm hammering on the business with the Chinese. I fully recognize them as being a part of the system, and they're pumping huge amounts of money into it now.
Yes,
but they got supported by our government in the 40s. We have talked about this. You have acknowledged that this is true.
Sure.
We sent them support. We screwed, what's his name? The Kuomintang and the rest, and said, you can stay over here on Taiwan for a while. We might pull a lever with you later, right?
Yeah.
We had under Roosevelt sending, heavy water reactor equipment and shit and all kinds of things to jumpstart the damn nuclear program for the Soviets. So if these countries coming to the fore as communist countries was in fact, as appears to be the case, the result of our support, I'm not having to go all the way back to Thomas More's Utopia.
All right.
I'm saying as recently as 70 years ago.
Well, more recently than that.
Absolutely. Look at Nixon opening things up,
Sure.
I mean, there are many ways in which that's not the Chinese. That's groups within the West working with the Chinese, some of which are Jewish, many of which are white.
Yes.
And so this is why I ask you, please be fair to me as well. It seems to me to say that it's all about the Chinese, and for you to say, if you want to go all the way back into history,
what's the best thing
to crush your enemies, to see them driven before you. Yes, except that right now we're being driven before like clown world. So this is my point.
Last long is my point.
I hope so.
It won't. It never does.
But the thing about a toasted wish sandwich is, you get 2 slices of toast bread and you can
wish something in the middle. Sure.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be like that too. Oh, there's going to be a bunch of stuff going on. I am a good old rebel, and that's just what I am.
No, you're just a cantankerous fucker.
No, you're not give a damn.
You are definitely cantankerous. What's it? It's not just cantankerous. It's actually contrary.
It's worse than that, Ollie. I don't give a fuck. Now I got my snus back in my gum. That's good.
But we'll come back. Yeah, I pray. I hope and pray that it calms you. Coming back around to the point at which we had our divergence.
All right.
We're not just dealing with our own government. We're dealing with the Chinese backing it as well. And so I don't understand. I mean, from whence comes some resistance? Everything has been countermined, and it's screwed. So it just seems that there is no what's the path forward. I mean, it sounds like just keep your head down and wait. And if you just keep your head down and wait, then what happens anyway? I know you like being cantankerous and contrary, Tim, but as my dear old friend from whom I have learned so many things, could you please open your heart in such a fashion that you can help me to see a way forward?
Rest easy. Rest easy. Do not get yourself too excited about anything just yet. There is nothing to get excited about at this point. Trump has chosen a path that allows him to sit back and let the Democrats fuck up. You know that old statement about why Jimmy Carter was always on the bottom with Rosalind on top? Because Carter could only fuck up. It's that way, bud. You've got to let this program play out a little bit.
Well, I mean, I look at it this way. I don't have an option,
Oh, yeah, you do. You could run around and wave your guns and shoot things in the air. And
well, I don't have any
federal marshals and all that sort of thing.
All right. In Minecraft, none of that is endorsed. Let me just go ahead and add a statement.
That's all bullshit. That's all bullshit. We don't need any of that. That's the whole point in letting this thing go along. Now, it's not done the way I'd want it, but who can say? Nobody asked me. I'd have taken care of this shit a long time back.
Yes, I imagine. Yeah, there is a way to approach it. Yes.
Be patient and civil. Be peaceful. Be nonviolent. Biden is the president. Let him be pres for a while. And if Kamala decides to, whoops! Oh my God, Biden
slipped in the
stairs to his basement.
He slipped in the bathtub. Yeah.
Yeah. What the fuck? Who cares? 6 of one, half dozen of another. Pelosi's going to be coming apart at the seams. Miss Hillary will be in there somewhere. Not to mention Ocasio-Cortez and all her little squad.
Yeah, but take a look at the other ones that have been properly groomed in probably more fashion than one. And more fashions than in many senses of that term. Like, look at a Pete Buttigieg. I mean, they have another group of them, Fulbright scholars and the rest, some creepy ass, commie CIA connections and all the rest.
Robespierre, everyone. Yes, Danton and Robespierre. Yes.
Well,
I wonder how much of an uptick in capitalistic activity was caused by all these tumbrils being used. They had to be made by someone.
That's cool. That's cold consolation to the people of the Vendée who got massacred in their tens or hundreds of thousands. I mean, I know you don't give a fuck particularly about that sort of thing. I do. However, I mean, I'm living right here in the midst of it.
Oliver, name me one person that was killed in the French Revolution. Name me one that was killed in the Spanish Revolution.
Lorca. And you just named Danton and Robespierre. I get it. Like some swinging dick on the street. Yeah, I don't know their names.
Okay. Thank you.
That's from the perspective of history, not when you. Well, anyway, okay.
Yeah, sure is from the perspective of history.
It's going to be like this today.
Is what we're all doomed to live.
Yes, here we are in the this best of all. It's all for the best in this best of all possible worlds.
Indeed, it is so.
Never mind the gaping black hole where my nose used to be.
That's true,
Dr. Pangloss.
Exactly.
Well, I had expected to catch shit from everybody in the chat. I didn't recognize that I was going to catch so much from you. But you know what? There are facets to everything, and I'm gonna take it as a learning experience, and I'm gonna just assume that it's going to improve my character. So that's all fine with me. Well, let's perhaps come at it from another direction. We could take some questions if that's all right with you. But
sure, let's do it.
But first, I want to ask you one.
All right.
What do you think should happen with this channel? I am in a, I'll just go ahead and do some of this publicly because I'm in just a fucked up situation. This business with the Chinese and others having fucked our country. What is it? Stomped a mud puddle in the chest of our country.
And then walked it dry. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And walked it dry. Yes. All that business that's going on. It's killed my job. It's gone. Absolutely gone. Now I'll go find another one. This has happened to, it's happening right now to millions of people across the country. I'm not alone. It does piss me off a bit. I'll tell you honestly. The other thing that has happened is that this channel has had it's got a vice grips on it. It's been smashed. I mean, ever since that report about me being a vector for infectious ideas was drafted by whoever those academics were and posted online. I can show you the history of my channel and how all the traffic just drops off and everything dies.
Sure.
So it's been throttled. Mm-hmm. So my original job and my backup plan are both screwed. And so I'm giving some thought. I wanted to be able to work remotely, but this gives me the thought of what to do with this channel next. And I would be interested to hear from
Parlor.
Pardon me?
Move it to Parlor.
Parlor's gone. Parlor's
back.
Parlor is nothing. This is where I'm not going to call you a boomer, obviously, because of my respect for you and my knowledge of you. But Parlor is a nothing. Parler doesn't work. Parler has any number of warning signs about how it was set up. Parler is basically a little pasture into which we were supposed to be herded as a kind of ghetto as Twitter shut things down. Now, I take your point more generally, which is, for example, use Gab TV, go to the Gab platform, use Rumble, use BitChute. The reality is that those are all of them are very small. And that's an issue with trying to fight out a space on those platforms.
Have you looked at YouTube lately?
I mean, I looked at it shortly setting up this. Obviously, yes.
Okay. Have you noticed that it's losing content?
It looks like it always looked. If you log in without, if you go to the homepage of it without being logged in, all you're going to see is fucking cat videos and weird cartoons and how to make art projects with glitter and macaroni and glue.
Yeah. Do you think that people are going to be satisfied with that?
We've just seen. I take your argument. We've just seen that it doesn't matter if people are satisfied with any of it.
Yes, it does, because people are going to organize. Do not ever forget what a man who was a French citizen and came here in the early 1800s said about Americans. Americans organize about everything.
Oh, you told me about this years ago. I remember you talking about the dog grooming society and the women's temperance unions and fill in the blank, the model railroad, group of clubs nationally, the Beta Club.
Sure.
No, I get it. The platforms are there. It's so okay. That's fine.
Gonna grow.
Yes, even alien
was right. Americans will organize about anything. It doesn't have to be particularly amusing.
Well, here's a good point. I mean, the cross section of the population is a bit different, but yeah.
Well, German, British, if you include the Irish,
Hungarian,
the Hungarians, all that, there are philatelics that you would not believe. Philatelics are stamp collecting, and they collect from the world, but they also collect very small things. There are people who have immense collections of aquatic mammals, stamps of aquatic mammals from all over the world.
Sure, people collect glass alligators, only glass alligators. Sure, I get it. I've seen it.
Sure. Yeah. And they have friends.
Well, let's
only glass alligators.
And they network one with the other. And
yes, they do, don't they?
Yes, and we've talked about this a few years back from the days of Fact Sheet 5 when I was first doing things with a fax machine out of Kinko's and a P.O. box. And I've seen that there is truth in that. It might be more productive, perhaps, for me anyway, certainly, to take a look at what to do with the channel and where to take it. I was just bitching about these are the constraints. If we talk about Sun Tzu, as you well know, since you introduced those books to me long ago, you can take a look at weather. You can take a look at terrain, right? You look at the qualities of the commanders themselves, the need for spies, right? All these things. But the weather and the terrain are important because those are things over which the commander doesn't have immediate control and has to work within, right? So I simply mentioned the business about issues with YouTube and issues with censorship and the rest as like a review in the situation report regarding the weather. So bearing that in mind, I'm just trying to brainstorm where to take this channel next, because I'm certainly not going to be talking about Trump, I mean, other than, the occasional forensic pass, unless he has something really wild up his sleeve, and it's at this point.
Hey.
So what would you think would be a useful thing You know me, you've seen the channel, you've seen what we've talked about all this time. Before we turn it over to the audience to answer that question, where should this channel go, etc. What do you make of it? And I'll open, of course, the questions on the channel further as well, just to see what people have to say. And if anybody wants to sling shit, this is their day for it. So where do you think this channel should go? What would you say, Tim?
Well, I look at it from the standpoint of twofold standpoint. One, I've just enjoyed having the opportunity to converse with you once a week. And that has been my main impetus in this channel. The other thing of where to take it, you've got to decide what you want to do, Ollie. You've got to decide, do you want to be a born-again revolutionary? Do you want to be somebody who simply looks at things and says, my God, what a mess?
Oh, I definitely do want to have a constructive angle on it, so to speak. Right. And the semiotics was the beginning of this. I think I'll be coming back around to it. Interpretation. I just see it as an exercise. As you know, I didn't have this background in politics. I did not give a fuck at all. But as is always the case, when there is something that you have not attended to, when there is something that you have not looked at closely, you have not identified it properly, then, I guess let's say karma and dharma demand that your attention be turned to it for a time. And if you try not to, it's going to come around and bite you in the ass. And so I can look at this period of 4 or 5 years, shepherded in large part by you. I appreciate it, as I've told you before privately, walking me through this, because I had never, we talked about great game aspects over many years here and there, but as you know, my interests were elsewhere. Now I've been dragged into this world, and I think I've just about had a belly full of politics. I've certainly had a belly full of looking at it, because it's nauseating. It truly is nauseating. That old joke about, Nietzsche's business of stare too long into the abyss. There's a certain amount of truth in that. It's the peasants are revolting. And you know what? It's not just the peasants. Actually, the most shocking thing of all is that the peasants are least revolting. That's what's so, my snotty, middle-class aspirations, be damned. It's so anyway, I guess what I'm saying is the business of the politics is interesting me less and less, mostly because it's such a there's only so much, schadenfreude that you can suck out of the tit. There's only so much entertainment value provided by seeing the slow motion train wreck when it's your fate tangled up in all of it too, to some extent. So I guess there's some other place to look. The question is what and how?
Well, let's throw it open to the comments from these people who have seen fit to grace us with their presence.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, we have one suggestion. Cat videos. No. Meow. Right. Yeah, I get plenty of cat videos, by looking at this fucking Siamese running around the house. Okay, yeah, let's look at let's maybe hear votes for where people want to see the channel taken, but we'll also take questions, and we have, where'd it go? I was just about to clip it. The end, Tim is saying we should start a newspaper.
Absolutely.
Tim had ideas about a newspaper once upon a time.
I sure did.
Here's El Vaquero. Hello, sir. Saying, my cousins once shot a crow to see, well, I don't know how they talk down where he is in the Southwest. My cousins once shot a crow to see what it tastes like. They said it tasted terrible. My condolences. Yeah, well, you got to eat what you got to eat. This is a Salome Perry saying, why don't you create courses like Academic Agent? I could do that. They'd be rather strange, though. I think they'd be rather odd. Maybe I'll talk to him about the possibilities with the platform he's using now. they'd be odd. And I don't know in terms of being a teacher, that's never,
come on, Ollie.
That's never really called to me. El Vaquero says sounded like a Native American. That's all I can do for a southwestern U.S. accent. I remember going through there on motorcycles in a snowstorm, which kind of sucked. And I actually stopped in Roswell, New Mexico. And I remember as my motorcycle came up to the pump, you know this story, Tim, but one side, you know how the road curves slightly and the sun was hitting one side of it obliquely and it melted the ice, which meant we had to drive on that side just to get something other than ice under our motorcycle tires. And I pulled into Roswell, New Mexico, got up to the gas station, and I slowed down quite a bit. Wasn't going fast at all anyway, but the whole bike just slipped out from under me. And I remember just watching it drift across the snow real slow, but didn't stop. And then thump, bump against the gas pump. And I got taken inside and fed hot coffee and green chili burgers by some Native American dude who ran the gas station there. And this is why I remember this kind of voice for being in the southwestern United States.
There you go.
Yeah, sorry. That was a.
That's all right.
Where are we? What? Millennial Woe says, and level up your semiotic knowledge. Yes,
there you are.
That I could do. Contracu says, Ollie, you should focus on deconstructing the propaganda of the establishment. That has been some of your best stuff, in my opinion. Well, thank you. I definitely will be looking at that because there's some of that to it. I think Frody Midjord is increasingly correct I see increasingly that he is correct when he talks about the need for a paradigm shift. People need to see and think differently. Mm-hmm. We'll see. Sylphwave says, become an antiques dealer. I did a little bit of that on the side, and boy, I learned. What was that character before I got into antiques? Lovejoy. Those were those books, man. Tim told me about the Lovejoy character in those books, and I was like, what? And then I got into antiques for a while, both in Turkey and the U.S. for, I don't know, probably 6-8 years. Oh, my God. What a crew of scumbags, man. They were out of fucking control, man. Oh, my God. It's like used car salesman putting on airs, I think is the best way. It just was.
Putting on airs and smoking crack.
Yeah. So, yeah. Now, there is some of that. Charlemagne says, do more collaborations. I have done a number in terms of like single episodes and stuff. I think an interesting thing to look at would be to get a group of people who like have a task, and it indeed can be an intellectual one, if that's the case. Lay out a task, and that's what I'm thinking about is unpuzzling something, sorting something, figuring something out, and then sort of set that target and over a year work towards it, so to speak. But the thing is, when you work with people, sometimes, not everybody's as steady and as Tim. I've got a thing where I'm trying to do a clip on.
Yes. Hang on a second.
You can mute it.
I'd like some more.
Not everybody's as steady as Tim. I had a thing with where I was trying to do a clip called Light and Darkness with Anteos, and we still haven't been able to finish it. Now I'm not giving anybody a hard time because life gets in the way. You have to make money. We'll come in and drop off. We shall see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm moving on. Oh my God, man!
What?
Our guy from V. He's not from Vermont. I always remember that wrong. He's just a sick puppy, man. Wow.
If you have sex with her, that's what are you going to do?
What you going to do? Kabbalah ASMR. I'll be like, Ate Malkuth Vegebura Vegadula Leolam. Amen.
Man, you just can't do that shit.
Right.
You got to speak in Hindi to her.
No, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about it. Yeah, not the mouth. Willie Brown's hole. Yes. I lost this. Where are we? I'm going to start paying attention here.
Okay.
Oh, Mr. Ixme. Yeah. So Semicog, I think it might be prime time for the right-wing creative agency. Yeah. Mr. Ixme and I have talked about this. I think there is good because always these agencies they're just run by left-wingers, and or just opportunistic scumbags. You know, on the creative side, they're left-wingers and progressives and addle-pated whatnots. And on the other side, they're just, you know, interested in money or they're left-wing. It would be very cool to take all of the knowledge and understanding that I have, that Mr. Ixme has in his or her own career, to bring that to right-wing advertising and communications. The thing that yeah, that would take a little bit of work. A bit of work.
A little bit.
From Québécois Foie Gras, we have Semigod, get yourself on OnlyFans. Let me think about that. No.
What is OnlyFans?
OnlyFans is one of these. It's a virtual Jack Shack. It's just where, you know, you have these women, they have fans and they sell their bath water, or they, you know, they lounge around in their underwear and get men to give them things. You pay a subscription. They move around in front of the camera, apparently.
That sounds good. I want to see you in your underwear, lounging around selling your bath water.
Even I don't want to see myself in my underwear.
Oh, come on, man.
No.
Oh.
Now
here's how many folks you'd get.
Now, this I had not expected. Proud White Settler, hello, sir. He says, become a cowboy. Don't pay worth of shit, but my lord, them cowgirls. I know nothing about cowgirls. Are you shitting me? Is there such a thing as a cowgirl? And
sure.
Do you have any
horse, ride a cowboy.
All right. I had no idea. See how the other half lives. Who knew that somewhere, you know, deep in the heart of Texas,
Texas, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Montana.
And like you used to talk about once upon a time, Florida.
Yep.
Let's see here. What is even cowgirls get the blues? Yeah, I'm not seeing marks here. What did I miss?
Greens.
You talk about some kind of crazy pills?
Sure.
Do you remember back in the old, well, you didn't have them, man. When I was a kid, we had these health textbooks and they were supposed to teach kids about everything they needed to know. I remember in the 7th and 8th grade reading about shit called goofballs. Like they would make up names for drugs that like nobody had ever fucking heard of.
That's all right.
Yeah. You know, something could be done with comics. I know a comic illustrator, but dude, it's so slow. It's slow. That takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
Albuquerque says, are you interested in alt tech? If so, I'm willing to help with some of the technical stuff. I'm interested. I've got a couple of software ideas. And at least one of them is very fucking good, but it would require people who are adept at taking, you know, information that I guess would come from, God, it's been ages since I worked in application development at all. I guess tab delimited files that you pull into a database. And anyway, it would need to, the important part is I need a particular type of interface that could read data in real time and animate from it in pretty complex ways and have sound playing that corresponds to the animation. So if anybody's good at that kind of thing, contact me at semiagog@protonmail.com. It might be time to just go ahead and develop that. We got one from Miss Waterpenny in the house. Western history as told through art and material culture, like your late night twat posts. Yes, I post material culture. I'll do more of that. I'm going to be talking with Pharaoh about material culture again. And I think I have something coming up with Pharaoh and John D about aesthetics as a moral guide. That would be interesting. Kamala Harris is now casting spells in the White House. Patty Burns says, whatever you do, I hope you keep having these chats with Tim. I hope that he will continue to tolerate these and continue to do them. Absolutely.
Oh, I will, Lolly. You know me. I'm a sucker.
That's not exactly the term I'd use, but I do know that you are willing to talk to me and have done for some time.
Sure.
Charlemagne, in the spirit of the stream, has to call me a dummy. He's taking a break from abusing himself. Self-abuse is always a spectacle. You see what I'm talking about? Here's another one. Let's see. Eric says, don't do collabs too often. Don't go up in the massive dissident channels. After a while, they all turn into the same puddets. You have something unique to offer. Emphasize that. Yes, thank you. I must do my own branding exercise, which is what you never do when that's your job. It's like the cobbler whose kids have no shoes. I suppose I should get around to it. Book reviews. Well, the problem with book reviews is I'd have to start reading again. Only in particular look at that face Tim made. You need some damn Pepto-Bismol. I'll do it when they're particularly interesting and here and there. That's what I'd do. Porky Longpig says, what the fuck is going on? I'm sorry to say, I have no idea.
We're just scouting around, sticking our long, pointy noses into things.
Yeah, trying to figure out what the fuck comes next. Well, I guess that's one. Here's a sort of question from Travis Blaze. Tim, what do you think the new timeline is? 4 years of Dems destroying themselves more than Trump supporters, then a hot war with China? Is that where you left it, Tim?
Well, no, not really. I don't figure the Democrats have more than 2 years left in them. As far as the hot war with China, I think that the Chinese are going to take our measure in the South China Sea. And I think that in all likelihood, it will be in the South China Sea and in parts of India, that Indo-Pacific thing.
Right, and the high altitude crap, yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll take our measure there, which is one of the reasons Trump got the Indians so pumped up, because they're going to be doing a lot of stuff for us, and the Australians as well.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Yeah, how that. Yeah, we'll see. Certainly, it doesn't look like Modi's going anywhere.
Oh, Modi! Oh, howdy, Modi!
Yeah, he's apparently going to be around. This from Waterpenny. More singing and storytelling.
That's me, baby. I'm going to sing and storytell.
Y'all be surprised, but he's Tim can whistle. His pitch is fucking good. I know because mine is terrible. The thing is that I can hear it when it's right and wrong. And Tim's got good pitch with his whistling.
I've got good pitch.
The thing about
Tim's good catch too. Go ahead.
The thing about Tim's stories, however, is that you can't hear most of them because if he told you, he'd have to kill you.
Or I'd get killed.
Well, let's just leave that be then.
Yeah. I am, by the way, writing, and I will be publishing after a bit. And I don't know where I'm going to publish, but I'm going to publish somewhere, and I'm going to get you to read them.
My father was an editor. My mother still is an editor. As you know, while I do write, I also edit. In fact, my writing style is to edit. I'll just go ahead and tell everybody the secret for me anyway to writing is write one shitty sentence and then just edit it into a book.
There you go.
And I'm only half kidding. Yeah, I'd be happy to help with that. And as you know, I threw some books out there. I'm not shilling them today out of shame, but I will come back to shilling them later.
Got to come on and shill them.
I know you have no shame.
That's right.
You picked this fucking stream to ask for folding money. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Okay.
That's all right. I'm going to recruit some of these people that are watching it here to be some of my beta readers and alpha readers and whatnot.
All right. I'm sure
go along.
We can provide gamma readers too. I'm sure. Here's a question for you from longtime channel follower, Eclair Franken. What do you have to say to Eclair? I'm going to mute myself for a second so I can blow my snout. I just want one moment.
I'm in Southern California. What do you recommend? That you run like hell. That you sell it out, give it away, do something, just get the fuck out of Southern California. You're fixing to be covered up in all kinds of illegal aliens. Illegal aliens and drugs and little children running around acting like they got nobody to care for them.
Well, no, I was about to say, just don't take this to. When I heard you say, I like this. I like this version of Minecraft.
In Minecraft,
Minecraft is a little bit different.
Yes, it is. Will step this way, please. Have your pencils ready.
Is that how that you smoke that cigarette like that?
Yes.
Your papers, please. Books. I'll be doing books, and I will tell you this: I take my writing shit seriously. I think I'm quite good at it, particularly poetry. And that the sci-fi book I published is an old one that was from long ago, and I just cleaned it up and published it. I'm much better now. I will say this: Tim has some badass book ideas, and they are crazy well researched. And I find myself very much wanting to read them. I'm not shilling. I am telling you the absolute truth. I can't tell you the ideas because they're so damn good, and it would be evil to describe them and steal his thunder. But stay tuned. Write that shit, brother. The last way doing, man.
Yeah, that's going to be about a 14-volume writing exercise, starting in Atlantis. Woo! Which is, as the man said, outside the Pillars of Hercules.
That's right. And maybe a little, well, I won't say anything further.
That's all right. Go ahead. Say whatever you want.
Might be around the bulging left side of Africa, right?
Well, Atlantis was actually in the Sargasso Sea. You would have had to sail somewhat south to reach Wedo.
Oh, well, I'm just thinking of the fact that you pointed out some of the iconographic relationships between, for example, Aoife's feather and the feather of Mot, and groups of tribes. Well, we're giving too much away. We'll leave that be. We'll leave that be. I know that you have many of these cards in your special little clear boxes. Some of the things on the shelf behind you that you're not allowed to tell people about, or you'd have to get on. Okay. Let's see here. Well, this is something that Tim was already talking about a little bit, which is this is coming from Travis Blaze, saying, do you think the next 4 years will result in a harder swing to the right due to social alienation or the end of Western civilization as a whole? Is there any hope for the West now, Tim?
Yes. Yes, there is. What you've got to remember is that most of the people who are trying to tear us down.
No, never mind that. I just threw that question up because it was funny. We're on the hope for the West.
Good God. Hyperboreans. I think that we are very shortly going to see a whole lot of hope for the West. I think that one of the things that we're going to see is I hate to say this, but is a tamping down of brown and black. I think we're going to see things in Minecraft get real unpleasant for a while because there are so many joys, so many, what is her name? Joy Reid, is that her name? Or is she the fat Jewish bitch? I've forgotten.
No, that's the, you're thinking of the View chick. No, Joy Reid is the one on MSNBC.
Okay.
I think it's MSNBC, the black news host, right?
Yeah.
Joy Behar is the one you're thinking of. There's so many Joys. Yes. Point taken.
Joy Reid, Joy Behar. 6 of one, half a dozen of another. They don't amount to a hill of shit. But they have got really great platforms. And they reach a lot of people. And they reach a lot of the people during the time when there ain't nothing else on TV. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
So you're saying, yeah, there's hope, but it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Why, that's exactly how I would phrase it if I were
someone. And it is consistent. That is something you've been saying for quite some time. Yes.
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 Not to mention that it's getting worse in Germany and in France and in Sweden.
Yeah, we'll have to see. My problem is that I have associated. Well, I'm not even going to go there yet because I'm going to do a stream that's solo where after I've had like a week to just think this through, I have to do a postmortem and figure out what the fuck I got wrong and how.
You should do this. Yes.
Yes. Somebody just mentioned steer pike. I didn't catch the original remark, but it's interesting to see a steer pike. I didn't realize that we had a Mervyn Peak fan in the house. Hell yeah. Okay.
Whatever.
We have, what did you do to the crow? Listen, honey, I think is what Tim would say.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, when you're talking about unchristian things being done with birds, isn't it a goose that you use as your? It's not crows, certainly. Although I did have I can't tell that story. Well, I can. No, I can't. Never mind. It had to do with chickens and turkey. I mean, chickens and the country, turkey, and the expression egg pusher, but we're just going to leave it. We're going to leave it there. Now, somebody, we have the fifth corner saying you both got it wrong because you're guided by your emotions.
There you go.
I'm guided by instinct, certainly, but not emotions.
Listen, honey, my emotions are just so important to me.
Yeah, you're about the most sociopathic person I know, Tim. So
listen,
your emotions.
Even sociopaths have empathy.
In my particular case, no, I wasn't guided by my emotions. I have to take responsibility for faulty reasoning, which is far more serious. Though I'll grant you, not keeping a bridle on your emotions is its own mess, and is to be avoided.
Yeah.
All right, God damn it, Tim. I thought I was going to catch the shit from the people in the chat. And little did I know.
Well, you invited me. You even gave me a little thing that I could flip it on and just be right there in the stream with you.
Isn't that lovely? Yeah. I'm going to take a break just momentarily here with Man Ray of Hope and admit, yes, again, this is the Crow Stream. Welcome to the Crow Stream, one and all. I was wrong about Donald Trump.
Don't forget to send in folded money.
Oh, God damn it. You're ruining the proper ritual humiliation that I'm supposed to undertake here.
I want to be humiliated ritually with a lot of money.
Right, buried in it.
Yeah.
Swimming in it. Wasn't there some Viking king who was drowned in a vat of mead? Am I remembering that right? That sounds right, doesn't it?
Yeah, sure.
You want to go out that way.
Buried by with two 16-year-old blonde broads.
Stop. If you say slick skin, this is all over.
Yeah, lots of slick skin.
First off, let's stay legal, Tim.
Okay.
So yes, I was wrong about Trump. All the other people who came in and disagreed with me, they were right.
There you go.
Fair.
All of them.
Right. I mean,
all of them were right. You were all wrong. Boo Ollie. Boo Ollie.
You see how much shit is going around now? Oliver just pissing a can like Tim. That's not a can. We do not need to see it. We do not need to see it. Thank you.
I was going to show it's got a little lid on it.
No. Okay. Really. It's
lovely.
Too much information.
I got two of them. Actually, I got four of them.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, you're making gunpowder, right?
Sure, I'm making gunpowder. Whee!
Okay, here's another one from Travis Blaze, who insists on being serious. The only person probably left on the stream who is doing that. So we are going to be Deutschland, über alles. So as Tim predicted, is that what's going to happen, Tim?
No. It's going to get real weird. You're going to have people talking about freedom of speech and freedom of the press and freedom to have guns and all kinds of things while they're busy shooting other people in Minecraft.
Yeah, and let's hope not. We do not endorse that course of action, do we? We expressly, well, I'll speak for the channel. We expressly advise against it. And that is no joke. Yeah. Let's just, there's certain questions I'm just not asking you anymore, Tim. Here's one I will ask.
Come on, Riley.
Is Tim just a nihilist?
Hell no. I don't give a fuck about nihilism. Nihilists are too organized for me.
All right, here's one that's going around. Everybody's talking shit about fucking secession, and I don't think
bullshit.
All right, well, there's your answer, Stealth Creations. Tim doesn't believe there's going to be secession. I tend to think that none of that will be permitted. Here's one. Semiagog doesn't know anything he's talking about, always insistently vague because he cannot make a claim.
Hooray!
I had made specific claims any number of times in the past. The whole point that we're here today is that I made a specific claim and was wrong.
Hell no. You're just too vague and ambivalent and don't know anything at all about what you're talking about, Ollie.
There it is.
You need to listen to Black Pepper.
Yes, I will do it. You know, though, I do like black pepper. I think there are a certain number of people. I used to think I was different. I'd get my French fries at McDonald's and I'd put all black pepper all over them. And everybody said, "Why don't you put salt?" And I was like, "I put pepper on my French fries," and I felt all special. And then I found out that a lot of other people do that too. And then I realized that I wasn't the unique snowflake I thought I was. The end. Okay, let's get some decent questions coming in here, peoples. We have a few minutes left here. Goths and nihilists are so sad, according to Apex Alpha. I don't know. It depends on the goth. I mean, the Ostrogoths and the Visigoths clearly had fun, and the black nail polish goths, which in my day were called death rockers, we had lots of fun. Here's one. Tim, do you think that anybody's going to be going after these big tech companies? I think there was enough dissatisfaction on both sides that they might, my view is that they might make some kind of like, gesture towards reining them in. But the bottom line is they got too much out of using them for their own nefarious purposes, and I don't see it happening. I think there's going to be a slow thing of these alternative platforms coming to the fore, like we talked about. But thus far, the people who run these alternative platforms, you got BitChute on one side where they set the platform up and they seem emotionally and mentally stable. And yet, because they're tech developers, they don't pay attention to anything like the real serious shit, like building community. I mean, that site has been up for years now, and I can't even pick which video I want to feature. I can't even moderate, comments, and yet they're out there worrying about, their data feed speed. It's tech people that just always happen. But on the other hand, you have something like Torba, I think his name is, over at Gab, who's doing a better job technologically, but who just seems to be crazy as a shithouse rat. So yeah, we're going to need a better class of people in here in terms of developing the platforms before anything gets good. But Tim, what were your thoughts on this question?
Well, I think they'll go after them. I think they have no choice. After all, you can't have 230 used the way it's being used. And we've got to get in there after them and make things right for America and shit.
Yeah, do you think it's actually going to go anywhere? I think it's going to be a bunch of
sure. I think a lot of those people are going to wind up losing all their damn money.
I think the last best hope for that disappeared. How do you imagine?
Because the deep state has found out how much fucking money they got.
Oh, well, there is that, but they came after what's his name, Bill Gates, like that, as you'll recall. For those who are old enough, remembering, fucking Sun Microsystems, and before Apple got bought mostly by Microsoft, when there actually was a resistance, we saw how that turned out. He got brought in. He's now a Davos darling. So
that's because they haven't figured out how much money he's got left.
I don't. They know how much fucking money he's got.
No, they don't.
Well, I mean, to the extent that anybody does, they do. Anyway, okay.
Here's the thing: is that Tim is totally depressing. I am. I'm very depressing.
I'll have to
take a pill and go somewhere else.
He cheered me up many times over the years. But yeah, you had a final remark there. You were about to say about.
Just very bluntly, that nobody really knows how much money these motherfuckers have and how much power they've got. And once they find that out, they're going to be going, whoa, that shit belongs to me, not those. Not those ugly people.
Yeah, I think they have their pecking order sorted. But let's see. Hope springs eternal, right?
Imagine what OAC could do with all that money.
AOC, yeah, oh my God. Whatever. That's probably one of the most, that prospect, the spectacle, the horrid spectacle of it is probably one of the most painful things ever to see. Yeah.
And she'll piss and moan, get a little bit here, piss and moan, get a little bit more there, piss and moan, get a little bit here. And then she'll come at you like the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah. I hope a house falls on her in Minecraft. I
don't. I want her to get all that money first.
Here we got one from Viriatus of Lusitania. How long do you think it will take for Biden to be put aside and Kamala to take over the presidency? My vote, I'll turn it over to you, Tim, but my vote is it could happen tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened 6 months. I'd be surprised if it took more than a year, though, because that dude is on his last legs.
What? Where? Kamala who?
So what's your take, Tim?
I don't think it matters.
Simply because they're both cat's paws for others?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, well, this is one I've forgotten to ask you, and this is from Mr. Xme. I apologize, Mr. Xme. The U.S. Marshals in D.C., how does it work with U.S. Marshals, federal marshals in District of Columbia?
Marshals take their orders from judges.
That's the question. They take orders from the regional judge or the President of the United States. The beginning and end of chain of command for the marshals is judges. Period.
That's it.
All right. Well, we have that. Holy shit! Now I'm fucking lost. Whoa. Hey, peoples. Where the hell did it go? Somebody telling me to move to Armenia. Not right now. No.
Oh, come on, man.
Would you cut your ring finger off to show fealty to the chat?
Hardly.
No. Richie says, come on, man. Yeah. We do obviously have a hair sniffer observation. Man Ray of Hope seems to think, I think this is relative to Biden's prospects, that it's 6 months to a year. I tend to think that, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was tomorrow. Here we have PIB thought criminal. Semi-God, big tech are threats to Dems because even though they helped get Biden in, they could just as easily turn that power against Dems if they wanted. Plus, data is the new money, and Silicon Valley is drowning in it. Yeah, well, the big data
aspect. Need someone to organize them up and get them squared away so that they are in the proper position.
Yes.
Yeah. We need this very much. Yes, we do.
Oof. Yeah. That's here's one for you. I'm going to let you answer this, Tim, since you're a boomer. Sammy Agag, who has more blame, China or boomers? Who has more who is more responsible and more to blame?
Boomers are to blame. The Chinese are merely trying to fulfill their destiny.
Yes, I guess they are.
Yeah, they are. Little yellow motherfuckers everywhere.
All right. Easy there.
In Minecraft. Oh.
What do we have here? Travis Blades, that's a question. Semigog, what do you think is going to happen with the Durham and all the Biden, Hunter Biden stuff? Anything?
There's nothing to see here. Nothing to see.
It's possible that somebody, some further. I mean, we know that Durham was made a special counsel before Trump left, so hold that. But the thing is that I just watched this whole 4 years with Trump at the helm, and nothing happened. And that is one of the things that I have to figure out how to digest, because as I said at the outset of this, I've never seen so much shit disappear into the back room that could be used to clean everybody's clocks and not get used. And so if it didn't happen when Trump was there to help push it through, I see no reason to imagine. It's possible. Absolutely, it's possible. But I see
we
no
might
reason
need to impeach President Biden.
Yeah, I just don't see any way that they're just going to say, shut it down.
They better be careful how they shout that.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, they got that laptop and everything. All the pictures. They got some good pictures of him.
Yeah, if you didn't use it when it mattered, who's to say you're going to use it when it doesn't anymore?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give it. I'll say that there's a 0.5% chance that something could happen with that, and it wouldn't fully surprise me if it did. But I'm not making any more predictions based on it. That's for sure.
Yes.
Let's see here. This is from Boomer 21, Tim. With open borders and ongoing corrupt elections, this is sort of what I asked at the outset. Where is the optimism?
Chunk.
Okay, let's move right along from there. Yeah, God damn it. There are questions I'm trying not to ask you so as not to get dragged into this mire of negative statements in Minecraft. And you just keep.
I can't help it, Ollie. You ask these questions, and I'm just forced into going chunka, or clickety-clack, clickety-clack.
Right.
Once you're on, you can't come back.
It's just that business of. God damn it! Now I forgot. I'm having a fucking senior moment.
Having a senior moment. Whoa.
Oh my God! Never mind. I'll tell you.
Good music comes in handy.
A what?
Good music.
What? It's like my grandmother used to say, "It's hell to get old," and then she'd look up, but it's the better alternative.
There you are.
Up to a point, yes. I'm not sure exactly what all this means. Tim, be good. But Apex Alpha says, Tim's like me. Things need to go back to 1963. We've got a poet in the house.
Isn't that nice?
It is.
I don't want to go back to 1963.
You don't?
No.
You didn't like it?
No, I didn't.
I guess a lot of boomers didn't. You talked about the hypocrisy of that time, did you not?
Yes, I did.
Well, here's one, Tim. How can chunk or clickety clack work if they take our guns? Be good now.
Are you planning on giving them up?
Okay, moving along. It is constitutionally protected because we know that the rule of law really works. This is Apex Alpha saying they're pushing the impeachment of Biden. What about that semigod? All I heard was that some, I think, newly minted Congresswoman, if I'm not mistaken, came in and said she's pushing for an impeachment. And, it's again, it sounds like a toasted wish sandwich. What do you make of that, Tim?
Well, I think it's lovely. I think just bringing up the idea is lovely. I don't think it's got much of any chance of going anywhere yet. But I do believe that before it's done, we'll have some interesting things come up.
We shall see. Well, we have this from, I'm not going to even try to pronounce that, but it looks like a picture of Lou Reed, so I can at least orient. Forgive me if you've already covered this. Always love your streams, but have disagreed with you in trusting Trump so much. He betrayed his most loyal supporters. Thoughts in retrospect? Yeah, you must have come in before the beginning. For my part, it seems like he crapped the bed. Tim, your thoughts?
He obviously chose a different way. Obviously. He he did not take any of the obvious methods and modalities of reaction that I had thought would be his main attribute. So in my estimation, the man has proved himself a coward. Whether his program works out or not, he has proved himself a coward.
Going back to your point made earlier that perhaps this fellow hadn't seen or heard, rather, which was you prefer at this point, and increasingly so as you reach your snowy white elder years of authority, you feel strongly that the more direct path is has much to recommend it.
Well, yes, I do.
Well, there's that.
I would have solved this whole problem inside 6 weeks.
Okay. All right. All right. El Vaquero has a good point. The Second Amendment will protect the Second Amendment.
That's correct.
Yep.
There's going to be a lot of things they're not going to like about the new Second Amendment, though.
New?
Yeah, sure. A new understanding of it. All these people talking about how people who've been convicted of non-violent offenses and so on should have their rights restored. That's bullshit. What does it say in the Second Amendment?
That you have the right, and it's a natural right.
Shall not be infringed.
Yeah, yeah. That's something I still have to chew on. I think there's probably a great deal of truth to it. I'll have to talk to more people who spent time in prison, but your observation that prisoners, convicts, I should say, and former convicts tend to be conservative. That's something that requires some meditation. And oddly, though, counterintuitive as it is, I think there's some truth to that. But I need to take a look at it.
Well, you just take a look at it, bud.
I will. No need to be snitty.
I'm not being snitty. I'm just being truthful.
Right. Pheromone Cult says, where should we find you post YouTube censorship? Well, I'm on BitChute. I'm on Twitter for the time being. I'm on Telegram now. I am on Gab, and I'm on Minds. Minds is pretty much it's crickets. I mean, nothing. I don't ever see anything happen there. But Telegram for now, because of liability issues, I'm not activating comments on Telegram. As I expected, that has rolled over to Discord. I'm seeing a lot of people thrown off of Discord now. I'm not over on Discord again because of the liability of having a place that I can be characterized as hosting, into which every kind of fucking whack job in the world can come in and say, kill all such and such. So yeah, I have to work on that. But Twitter for now. We got to
talk about what such and such is, though.
Okay. In
Minecraft.
Yes, we'll leave that be. Shall we?
Sure.
Let's leave that be for today. And there's a safer space. Tim Leader says they can't touch a safer space. Sadly, they can, but there is a safer space, and there is Semigog. They're both on BitChute and on YouTube. And I'll probably do something. I've been looking at it. I'll probably do something with Rumble. We'll see. It's going to be it's going to be weird here for a bit. We're going to have to see how some of the immediate stuff shakes out.
Yeah, shake out. Chinga.
We got Mark Doppelganger in the house. Hello, sir. I'm trying for different questions here, Mr. Tim. Let's see here. This is something that I'm going to have to think about, man. As you know, Tim and I were doing lots and lots and lots of great game geopolitical stuff for quite some time, and then we gave it a pause. It wasn't Tim's decision; that was mine, because we were waiting to see what was going on with the election and where all that's going to take us. Most of my own conclusions that I drew, to whatever extent I did, about things geopolitical, were based on the idea that Trump would stay in power, and I have not yet reassessed the board with Biden's presidency in mind. So that might be something that Tim and I take a look at, particularly if it looks like things begin to develop out there in ways that suggest something different. I think Tim just disappeared. Hopefully he knows that if he likes, he can come back in. I think that he did so for reasons of decorum, which we should celebrate. So let me look down here and see what else we got. We got Minoan in the house. Hello. Oh, Tim's back. What's all this, Tim?
I clicked the wrong button.
I thought you did. Is everything all right?
Oh, everything's fine.
All right. Hot damn. All right.
No, it wasn't a piss break. It was just clicking the wrong button.
All right. Helly weird. What? I have no idea what any of this means. Hello, by the way, longtime channel follower. Helly weird predicted this election Watchman of the Year. Okay. I had not heard about that. I will check it out. Sean K seems to think that we will have war with Syria. I'm not really sure. I mean, Russia is there, and there'll be a big mess going back. And I think Israel.
Now, what about the question you had posted on the thingy bob just a while ago? I didn't get to respond to that.
Let me just get on up here. Hang on.
Yeah.
Hang on. Mea Maxima Culpa.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm scrolling. Here we go. Notwithstanding what happens to America and Americans in the short term, how do you forecast the geopolitical realignment through the Biden term? How strong will China be in 4 years? That question from our viewer, Subjective F.
All right. I would say that to even ask the question is to beg the question, because you start off with the standpoint that there will be a China in 4 years. I do not myself think that China will last out 4 years, especially not 4 years of more spending, more doing, more, how shall I say this? More American democratic nonsense. As far as what happens to America and Americans in the short term, I think it's going to be a bloody mess.
Well,
you bring the British
version of bloody is adjectival, right?
Exactly.
Well, actually, you know what? There is a thing that got posted. I want to do this. I didn't post it anywhere else, but I'm going to give a shout out. I'm going to give a shout out to Millennial Woes, and I'm just going to share something from his channel here, just because it makes me laugh.
All right,
let's go do that. Can I do this here? How do I do this? I have to share a screen. Let me find a way to do that. Hang on. God damn it! I got to find some. There we go. That should work. I'm going to find some quiet way to do it. Some tactful and discreet way to do it. Get my other crap out of the background. Yeah, exactly. Let me just open here, and I'm going to share this lovely meme from Millennial Woes. How do I do this? Come on now, fucker. It's not complicated, Oliver. Sorry. Clearly it is for me. Once again, I'm just challenged by all these circuits. Why is this not opening?
I don't know.
What the hell?
All right.
Sorry, man. I thought that this was going to work out neatly, ladies and gentlemen. But apparently, it doesn't want to let me copy this damn thing. Let me try this one last time, and we'll see if it works. Unless there's some way that I can. There we go. I'll just do it like this. Here we go. Here we go. Share screen. Which one are we on? This is just funny, so I want to share it. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is from Millennial Woes Telegram feed. I recommend you all follow him there. This was just a lovely meme. How do you like it? I just thought that was, It's not exactly tasteful, but I thought it was funny. So yes, follow Millennial Woes on Telegram. There we are.
Okay.
God, you just anticlimaxed the fuck out of that, Tim. I got all the waves crashed on the rocks of your shoreline. You just took the wind right out of my sails.
Wow, I was waiting for something new to happen. I mean, everybody knows, don't they?
Everybody knows.
Sniff.
The dice are loaded. Everybody knows the good guys lost. Yes. I'm looking for, we're about to come to the end. Oh my God. This seems like, no, we are at the end, ladies and gentlemen. Shit, this is it. We're at 2 hours, peoples. And I think that I will, I've just call it a day then, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm going to close. Well, actually, exactly. I will eat some crow. But before I do that, Tim, is there anything final you wanted to say, since I had, had been stomping all over your ability to say whatnot?
Well, you didn't stomp on my ability to say whatnot. I just got my ability to muss about in Minecraft kind of done up.
Oh.
Ollie and Tim shit the bed. End of story. All right.
I said it's everybody's opportunity to come in and talk crap about us. So here's my closing. Crow eating.
By the way, I do not shit the bed.
Yeah. I'm glad to hear it. Nor do I. Never in my drunkest moments. And
Yggdrasil is fucked up.
Yeah. However, I am going to go ahead, as I said, and do my ritual humiliation. I was wrong about Trump. The people who came in and took issue with me and took the opposite position, that he was going to fall through and that he was not what everyone hoped for, they were correct. And I was not, ladies and gentlemen. So having said that, Balderthustra Yggdrasil has a statement. That looks like this is it. There it is. Thank you all, one and all. Thank you very much for being here. And since it was requested to do the bit, wait a minute, that's not the one I selected. I will, in closing, say, tell me, Conan, what is best in life? No, sorry. Tell me, what is best in life? Something on the open steppe and falcons at your side. Wrong. Tell me, Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of the women. I am Semigog, and I am